And what's your pleasure?
From the Thomaston Place Auction Galleries in Thomaston, Maine, I'm Elizabeth McLeod with Auction Waves.
32,500, 100,000 there. Players all over the house, 400,000 on this rare piece, and 600,000, 900,000, 1 million, 1,175 once, 100 million, 175 twice. We all good? Sold.
Weeks of planning, weeks of organizing, weeks of attention to every possible detail, and now it's time. Our Autumn Majestic Auction happens this week, and in this special release of Auction Waves, we'll give you a bit of behind-the-scenes color as we talk to historic clock specialist Peter Rioux as he takes us through the process of preparing a 2-century-old tall clock for the auction floor. But first, in place of our usual auction news segment, we'd like to talk about a real advantage that we offer to our bidders: phone bidding. In these days of internet convenience, you might think of bidding by telephone as just a bit retro. But the fact is, when you bid by phone, it's the next best thing to being present in person in the auction house. And joining us today to discuss the process and the advantage of phone bidding is our phone bidding expert, Taylor Bergman.
Our phone bidders are incredibly trained at kind of setting the scene for you, letting you know what else is happening in the room, whether the bids are coming through or if it's kind of slowed down a little bit. We go at your pace. There's no pressure. It's all in your hands. We call about 5 lots before your lot goes up. We talk you through kind of a quick introduction of what we're about to do, and that we'll just need a quick yes or no, and then we wait for the piece to go up to the podium.
So what sort of preparation should a bidder do if they're going to use the phone bidding service?
Really what it is you sign up for your phone bids, make sure that you have all of the lots that you're interested in after perusing our catalog, either online or coming through the gallery. Having a clear, distinct, this is what I would like, this is around where I'd like to get out. If I get it for less, great. I'm willing to go a little bit above what I'm looking at. And just have a clear idea in your head of if you want this piece at that price.
What happens if we call and you're not there?
Always ask people to put down what we call a safety bid. It's very similar to an absentee bid. It's just how much you are comfortable for us executing your bid up to a point on your behalf. Even while we're executing that safety bid, we will continue calling you until the piece is sold.
So it's important that they not try to call us because they need to keep the line open.
Yes, we are going to keep trying that phone number. One of the other things I should have mentioned is that we are going to email you a confirmation of all of the bids that come through. Looking that over, making sure that the lot numbers we have in there are correct, that your phone number is correct, that is the primary phone that you want us to try you at first. If there's an alternative that we can try you at, we are your advocates at the end of the day. We want you to get this piece and we want you to get it for a great price and have a great experience with it. So there's so much that we put in as safety so that you have a shot.
And we're making sure that this is all a human process. There's no AI being used at any stretch of this. This is all people are taking your bids, people are processing your bids, and people are relaying your bids to the floor.
Yes, we are in the people business. We want you to have a great experience. Auctions can be a really scary thing. It's better to have a little bit of hand-holding than a cold computer.
Whether you bid by phone or by absentee, you can bid with confidence. This is Auction Waves, and I'm Elizabeth McLeod. Of course, there really is nothing quite like being present on the auction floor, where you can see the items as auctioneer Kaja Veilleux presides at the block. Look around the gallery, and you'll see hundreds of items set up for your examination. And that's the result of a lot of intense preparation by our logistics and operations team, who've spent the past month locating, moving, placing, and organizing each item. And there's often more to it than just hanging a picture on the wall or placing an item in a display case. complex mechanical items like clocks come with their own special challenges. For those, we turn to clock expert Peter Rioux, who joined us in the auction gallery recently to take us through the process of setting up one of those clocks. Lot 3088 is an early 19th century clock made by Riley Whiting of Winchester, Connecticut, featuring an intricate wooden movement. It's a beautiful clock in a chocolate brown case and painted case, and we watched with fascination as Peter Rioux put it into operation.
The uniqueness of this clock is, first of all, it has wooden works. One thing that I hear often is your clock has wooden works, it must be the oldest clock ever. Well, no, actually wooden works clocks were developed after the American Revolution, when brass was scarce and very expensive. So the American Connecticut clockmakers devised a method to produce wooden works clocks, which made them more affordable, and of course the resources were abundant. As far as the case goes, a lot of times the cases were made locally. The works were sold by vendors, traveling salesmen, and they would go to towns and sell their clocks, and a lot of times the cases were made within those areas. Of course, these pine cases a lot of times were paint decorated to make them look like they're exotic woods, like the nice graining, almost looks like rosewood graining. But this particular example is very nice. It has a nice green trim and mustard pinstripes. Very nice. It has a nice look. It's less formal. It's more of a, in my opinion, a country type piece.
I was about to ask, who would have owned this clock? Would this have been a clock for the average farmer, the average worker?
Yeah, probably. Even so, these clocks were not readily available for everybody because, you know, even if they sold these clocks, and I'm just throwing a number out, let's say they sold these clocks for $50, there weren't many people who could afford it. They were probably more of a middle class type of clock.
I want to talk for a minute about the fabrication of the works. How do you cut wooden gears with the sort of precision that is required for a timepiece? You can't have anything off center. You can't have the teeth irregular. How do you do that by hand in wood?
Okay, well, they weren't done by hand. They had the help of what they call wheel cutting engines. And basically it's a device, it's a tool where you would mount your wheel blank, a wheel blank meaning a circle of wood, and they would mount it on a table that had an indexing plate. And this little indexing plate would allow you to advance however far you want it to go between the teeth. So in other words, you would cut one tooth, another device would come and engage that wheel, and it was basically a spinning cutter. And that would spin, you engage the wheel, it cuts the tooth, you back it off, and then you index it one increment, come back, cut a tooth, back it off, index it, another increment, cut it again, and you do that all the way around the wheel.
Would you need to use a special type of wood? Would it need to be hardwood?
Absolutely. The clock plates, which are the two plates that hold everything together, are oak. The wheels themselves, or the gears, are cherry, and the pinions and arbors, which the wheels are mounted on, are Connecticut laurel. Okay, so those are the basic woods that are involved.
Does it use wooden pivots? Or do they sharpen into a front?
Well, that's an interesting question. No. What they would do is you have a wheel that's mounted on an arbor, and they would drill into the end of the arbor and install a steel pivot, a wire, basically, on both ends, and that's what rides inside the clock plates.
So you have the advantage of metal on metal where you need it to be.
Right. In this case, the pivot usually rides in a wood hole, so it's metal in wood. Yeah.
And it keeps good time.
The clocks actually, well, they're weight driven, and they have what they call a recoil escapement. So yes, they do keep actually very good time considering the age.
Well, I look forward to seeing this particular clock in operation.
Okay, awesome. Well, the first thing I'll do is take the bonnet off. And notice how they put some kind of material, probably paper, over the top just to keep the dust out. So here we have it. This is the time side. These wheels represent the timekeeping part of the clock. And the wheels on the other side represent the strike. And this little lever right here, if you were to press down on this lever, that will make the clock strike if you need to make it strike.
And it strikes one bell at the top of the hour? Or does it strike?
No, it tolls the hour. It tolls the hour. There is a brass part in this clock, and it's the escape wheel. This is the escape wheel right here, and it's actually a brass wheel. And the pallets that engage the wheel is what gets the impulse to drive the pendulum. Every time a wheel drops a tooth, it engages the pallet and gives impulse to the pendulum. And we'll see. I'm applying a little bit of pressure manually, and you can see how this all escapes. And of course, this is going way faster than it would normally go.
The weight of the pendulum would slow it down.
Oh, exactly. Luckily, time doesn't go this fast.
And there's no spring in there. It's all by weight.
Correct. Put new cord. The old cord was deteriorated to the point it just wasn't any good anymore. I can also make it strike so you can see how I'm going to apply a little pressure here. And now you're going to ask me how many times does the clock know how to strike? Well, it's this wheel right here. Mm-hmm. And this is called the count wheel. And the count wheel basically tells the clock how many times to strike. This deep groove represents 1 o'clock, actually 12:30, 1 o'clock, and 1:30. I'm going to correct myself. This clock does not strike on the half hour. It's just the top of the hour. Okay. So this long section right here is 12 o'clock, and this is 1 o'clock. So that's how the clock knows how many times to strike.
With every hour it gets wider.
And you'll see how that... Pretty ingenious. A lot of times a little string is attached to this and goes down through the case, and all you do is pull on that string, and that will make the clock strike, and you do that so you get the hour that you want. So because we've been doing this, we've thrown it out of sync, but we will correct it once we set it back out.
So there's a lot more to setting up an antique clock than simply putting it in the corner and winding it up.
Yeah, exactly. And it's important that the clock is in beat. And when I say in beat, I mean the tick and the talk need to be even. It cannot be one-sided. If it's one-sided, the clock won't run as well, and it might stop, and it's unsettling to listen to. You want a nice even tick. So I'm going to put this in the case, and I'm just going to go like this. We'll set it up here.
And that just sits there by gravity. There's no latch.
Yeah, basically the weight holds it down, and that's what holds it in place. And the little weight on the end of this cord is to keep the cord taut as it's winding down, so it doesn't get tangled. So we're going to go like this. So I'm going to get the weights. So this is the larger of the two weights, and usually goes on the time side.
What's inside that weight? It doesn't look like it's a solid piece of metal.
No, it's basically a tin can weight. And it's full of lead shot.
So they can manufacture that to any weight without changing the volume of the case, if they needed to.
Yeah, basically, you could fill it up with sand, But these particular 8s may not be big enough to apply. If you filled it with sand, it might not be heavy enough.
Right. And if it was solid lead, obviously it would be far too heavy.
Yeah, it would be very heavy. So this is what we do. And whenever you're dealing with a woodworks clock, you have to be gentle with it. Like if you drop the weight, it could break something.
Right.
You're dealing with wood. The end grain of wood has a tendency to break a little easier than the long part of the grain. So,
And this wood has had 200 years to dry.
yeah, it has, literally. All right, and we'll see if it strikes. Yeah. So what I have to do is set this up through the crutch. The crutch is the little part in the back of the movement you go up through, and then you set this on the bridge, a pendulum bridge.
And you notice it's a spring here.
It's kind of a flimsy thing, so whenever you're handling these, you have to be careful not to bend these or kink them, because then you'll have to replace it if you do.
It's basically what the pendulum swings from. Is
Exactly.
That little spring.
And so I can see I'm going to have to move this movement ahead. Sometimes you don't have a whole lot of room to hang things, and you don't want the crutch to be rubbing against the back of the case. Of course, it won't run if it does. Is it in beat?
It doesn't sound like it is.
It's off a little bit.
Yeah, it sounds, you're getting a bit of a talk tick.
Yeah,
Talk
so
tick.
what we do is we identify the short beat by looking at the pendulum and listening. Can you identify what side is the short beat?
And it appears to me that it is swinging more to the left than it is to the right.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to, and it's off so much that eventually it will
can hear it
stop.
slowing down.
I'm going to isolate the crutch, the part that the pendulum goes through, and I'm going to bend the bottom of the crutch toward the shortest beat. And I accomplish that by, I put one finger up here on the crutch and the other one down here, and then I push in the middle. And the key is to bend the crutch and not the suspension. Boy, that wire's stiff. I'm going to use my thumb. My thumb is stronger. I went too far now. How's that?
That's a very good clock. It's right on the dot.
So, what we're going to do is, of course, you have to wind these every day.
And that's good for 30 hours.
It's good for 30 hours. I usually like to wind the strike weight a little bit higher than the time weight, and it isn't here. Reason being is a less chance of it falling out of sync. If you do forget to wind it, it will be in sync. Yeah. And the only other thing we need to check here is make sure that it's about right. Apparently, back in the day when they made these clocks, a lot of these dials were painted in convents. Women and girls would go there and paint the dials. And you can see they did a fabulous job.
Is that gold leaf paint? Is that gilding paint?
Yeah, it probably is. This is like gesso, and then they would apply...
It's incredibly detailed work.
Yeah, it is. It is. So the beat sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty even. Should do a great job.
You'll always be on time.
The care that goes into the display of each of the items as we prepare for auction week is part of the sense of stewardship that we feel at Thomaston Place Auction Galleries as we pass on these beautiful and unique pieces to the owners who will cherish them for years to come. We hope you'll join us in person, by phone or absentee, or online for our Autumn Majestic Auction, November 6th through November 9th, and follow all our future auctions at our website, thomastonauction.com. Keishree Dobson at the piano, Dave Allen at the guitar, the entire program produced, written, and edited for you by yours truly, Elizabeth McLeod. Wishing you smooth sailing, happy bidding, and I'll see you in the gallery for Auction Waves. Auction Waves is an exclusive presentation of Thomaston Place Auction Galleries in Thomaston, Maine.